Hey, Dr. Fisher, this is Brent Davidson for my assignment 4.2, I Am Reflection Interactive Assignment. I'd say all of the I Am sayings of Christ recorded within the book of John all have personal meaning to me. But if there's one that kind of stands out, John 6:35, Christ refers to himself as the bread of life. He says, I am the bread of life. Whoever comes to me will never be hungry again. Whoever believes in me will never be thirsty. And I'd say this has specific meaning to me personally because as I reflect upon my journey, and I was saved when I was 17 years old, but the first 17 years of my life, I would describe it as me trying to find satisfaction and find fulfillment, and I would pursue worldly things to try to find that satisfaction and that fulfillment, and I would be satisfied at times, but I feel like it was like a false satisfaction because that satisfaction that I would feel would be fleeting and would fade very quickly, and I would end up feeling more empty and more dissatisfied than I was before. And when I came to know Christ, and I began to understand who He created me to be. I began to understand the purpose that He had for me to further His kingdom, to reach the lost, to make Him known to this broken world. That I began to experience deep change because of the work of the Holy Spirit, and I began to find satisfaction within those things. And it was like a different type of satisfaction that I had experienced as I compared it to that temporary satisfaction that I experienced just in trying to pursue worldly things that ended up leaving me feeling more empty and more dissatisfied. That this satisfaction all of a sudden I began to find in my relationship with Christ and in who I knew Christ created me to be and the purpose He had for my life. It was like something, a satisfaction that wasn't fleeting, and like it wasn't going away. Although obviously at times it's like I experienced different levels of that satisfaction, like based off of like my own walk and like whether I'm living in faithful obedience to Christ and His Word. But there's like a constant satisfaction that I found, and that's why I think of Christ as being like my, like that I am the bread of life. I am satisfied in Him. And I think about the same thing like with my physical body, and I'm longing for food and for nourishment, and when I receive that, it's like I'm satisfied, and I'm not going to be longing for things that I don't need to be longing for. And I know that's kind of like a weird analogy, but I think of that with like my heart and my soul and all those things I was longing for the first 17 years of my life, that I allowed my sinful nature to control and to impact the decisions that I made and then the things that I went after. Now that I know Christ, I am satisfied in Him, and He is my bread of life. And my life verse is Psalm 42:2, and I'm going to read verses 1 through 2. It says, As the deer longs for streams of water, so I long for you, O God. I thirst for God, the living God. When can I go and stand before Him? And I feel like that's a good definition of my life. Is I've been longing to know the Lord, and the first 17 years of my life I didn't know that, and that's why I pursued all these worldly things that were just fleeting. And I was longing to know Christ. I was longing to know my purpose, know my identity in Him, and I have never been fully satisfied in my life until I began to, first of all, receive Christ, and secondly, to grow and to know Him more and more in my daily life. So the I am saying that stands out to me the most is John 6:35, when Jesus says, I am the bread of life. And specifically for me, that connects to being satisfied in Him. Thank you.